Hey there, and welcome to the season finale of Nevermind the What. As you may have noticed, this is not the normal set, and that's because this episode is being filmed in quarantine, whereas the other episodes were filmed around January or February, back when we could exist in the outside world together. But thanks to modern day video conferencing technology, we are pushing forward and filming this final episode. The guest is a very special one, and he should be logging in pretty soon here. Ah, there he is now. I think you're muted. Sorry about that. Still getting used to the whole video conferencing thing. No problem. Thanks for sitting down with me today. It's my pleasure. Yeah, so I think we're gonna jump right into the questions now. Wait, so you're not gonna do the whole slideshow intro thing and the cheesy like Evan O. Adams is a blah 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 and the narrator voice thing? Do you think that might come across as a bit egotistical, considering the guest? Don't you think all this is already a little bit egotistical? You know, considering the host.
Evan O. Adams is self-described as some dude with a guitar who composes relentlessly rhythmic and unashamedly absurd music that often features gentle sounds inspired by progressive rock and jazz fusion. Known to blend many genres within a single work, often within a single minute, his approach to music is as varied as the music that inspires him. A frequent collaborator, he also often works with artists of other disciplines, namely those of dance and visual art. This weird interview features me talking to me, who is also him, delving into his approaches to... Yeah, I don't know if I can... This is too much.
Alright, so you are a composer, a guitarist, an arts admin kind of person. How did you get started with music, and what kind of led you to studying composition now? Great question. I will answer it, but just so you're aware, I will look different while I do it, and you should just ignore it. Well, I started playing guitar and trombone around the same time, which I guess was when I was in 5th grade. So I was probably like 10 or 11. And the way I got into music was mostly through my school's band program, which is a funny story. I kind of joined by accident because we had the auditions during our PE time in 5th grade, and I was a very awkward young child. And I showed up late one day to PE, and I just saw a bunch of people in a line, and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be in that line. So I got in it. Well, I got in line on purpose, but I was like, I don't know what this is for, but I'm late, and I'm sure this is what we're supposed to be doing. So I got in the line. It turns out that was a line to audition for band, and I was too scared to say like, oh, I didn't mean to do this. So then I auditioned, and they said I would be a trombone player. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm a trombone player now. So I did that, and then I started playing guitar shortly after. And that went on for a while. And then when I was in middle school, I played like guitar in the jazz band, and I played trombone for concert band and eventually marching band. And I had a really great teacher, Brenda Lejean, who, while I was in middle school, encouraged me to start arranging. So I started arranging for concert band and also did a lot of jazz band arrangements. And then another teacher, Noel Maldonado, she also really encouraged me to arrange for the jazz band because she directed it. So yeah, I started with that. And it was time to go to college. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but composition sounds like arranging. So I auditioned on guitar for a composition program at University of North Texas, and there's no portfolio requirement, which is probably why I got in, because I didn't have anything. But I got in, and then undergrad, and now grad, and whatever. What was the first piece you actually wrote? Do you remember it? Yeah, it was a guitar quartet called 32423. And I was actually really lucky because I was playing in an acoustic jazz ensemble at UNC at the time. And then we read it and actually played it on a concert, and that was pretty neat. Yeah, it's on my website still, actually. Nice. So I know in your scores and also in the descriptions of your own music, you use the term post-genre a lot. And now we know you didn't invent it, but I'm curious what it means to you and how you go about kind of applying that to your own work. Yeah, so I mean, I think in music, you have, as a performer, as a composer, there's a set amount of variables you can control, like in a performance or when you're writing. And the ones we think about most often are probably things like harmony or melody or even orchestration or things like that. But something that in a lot of music that's just kind of implicit is genre. Like we don't really consciously think, okay, this is classical music. We're just like, I'm writing these notes and these rhythms and all this stuff together and using my influences to make it be something. Um, so the idea of like using genre and the idea of like post genre is kind of the same deal with post tonality. It's like letting it break free of being like an implicit, oh, we expect this to be tonal. Now it can be anything, or it's like we expect this to be a single genre throughout the entire piece. But maybe right in the middle of a symphony, a rock opera needs to happen, or whatever, or a cheesy waltz right after a very serious, like romantic melody thing, just because has personality and it's interesting.
How does that relate to like polystylism, if it does at all?
They're pretty closely related. I think polystylism might be like the technique itself, and post genre might just be the idea of it, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does or not.
Gotcha. So a lot of polystylistic works, at least that I'm familiar with, use specifically older music in their kind of hodgepodge approach. And it seems like that's kind of essential to the vibe of the work. So one example is Schenke's first Concerto Grosso, which references Baroque music a lot. So is it possible for a post-genre work to exist without referencing specifically older music, or is that kind of an essential part of it?
No, I think you could totally be like within music that's happening right now and that's hip right now, and kind of mush it all together and it still be something that's really, really interesting. I think some people will confuse the idea of being pastiche with being crucial to the idea of post-genre, but it's not. It's different than that. It's like pastiche, I feel like, is referencing a certain time for the sake of referencing the time. But I think of post-genre and polystylism as in using a genre to elicit a feeling the same way you'd use a chord. Like you could say a minor chord is sad, and if you want the audience to feel sad, play a minor chord. Same thing if you want the audience to feel sad, put a ballad in the middle of a waltz, It's just one step above the other things.
Do you think that this polystylistic approach comes across less as something inventive and more as an excuse for not having like your own distinct musical approach?
Probably. No, I don't know. I don't really like that's something I think about a lot. Um and I just try not to think about it, I guess. Like I'm not trying to be disingenuous. Like that's something that I'm avoiding. But I definitely see the criticism that you're not creating like your unique voice. It's just you're using a hodgepodge of stuff. But I think using a hodgepodge of stuff can be a voice, I think. I don't know. I might be wrong. Ask me in 2 weeks and I might see something different.
So, moving on to something more general, I've heard you say that you're not an artist with a capital A. I'm curious what that means to you, especially considering you've kind of gone through two higher education programs, studied with capital C composers, and have done what many would consider, capital A artist activities. I get the cavalier attitude of like not wanting to be this image of academia, but is that something you can genuinely dismiss with you being where you are?
So there's a lot of ways to unpack that question, I think. But in regards to the last thing you said, I don't really consider myself an academic per se. And more so I consider NYU and all the schools and programs I've been into as a means to an end. So while I'm in school and while I'm maybe be doing the things that you think of as like a capital C ivory tower composer, I feel like I'm just using that to enhance my knowledge of music in general. And my goal is not to be that, if that makes any sense. As far as like the capital A artist, like I say that all the time, like I'm not an artist with a capital A. It just kind of means like I don't necessarily enjoy the ego part that comes out of a lot, and I'm generalizing. It seems like a lot of, historically, I guess you could say, a lot of academic composers kind of have this view of superiority about what they're doing and compare it to other genres and other artists, like the whole Kendrick Lamar thing of winning the Pulitzer, and how there's a lot of blowback from specifically academics who didn't like, him encroaching on the academic sphere with that award. So I don't like the ego part of it, but I still take the music very seriously. I take what I do very seriously. As a person, I try not to take myself I try to take the ego out as much as I can. Gotcha. I'm not sure I'm convinced about the whole ego thing, but I'd like to move on. I know you often collaborate with others, and specifically, I know you made a short film. What was that about? Yeah, I was in a collective in my undergrad called a collective, and
The collective what?
A collective, like eclectic music collective or eclectic collective. It was supposed to be multimedia, and it was. But one of the projects we did was we produced a short film, which was 5 composers, a choreographer, 2 dancers, and then 2 filmmakers. One was a director, and then one was a cinematographer. Yeah, and we made a short film. It won 3rd place in an award somewhere. It was fun. So, do you like collaborating, and what kind of draws you to it? Yes, to all of them. I like collaborating with people. I feel like one of the reasons, or there's 2 of the big reasons why I don't do a lot of like fixed media or like electronic music is 1, because I'm bad at it, and 2, because I like working with people. And I'm not generalizing. It's totally possible to work with other people when you do music like that, but I really like getting nitty gritty and getting into it with other people and writing and basically all aspects of art making. I like doing it with people. So that's kind of the impetus, and then it's manifested in different ways. Some are like the film stuff I did, and then dance is a big one too. I took a choreographer composer collaborative class in my undergrad that was really instrumental to me. It was taught by a woman named Claudia Howard Queen, who's pretty big mentor to me. And after the class, she basically trained me to accompany dance, and I did that at UNT until I graduated. And it's something I love collaborating with that kind of visual art. Very interesting. Shifting gears real quick, I know you're doing an Instagram challenge right now where you write a new piece every day and then post it. What's that like, and why are you doing it? Well, almost everything you said was wrong. It's not an Instagram challenge, and it's not about writing pieces. It's a composition challenge, and I may not even post anymore on Instagram. We'll see. I mean, this is going to come out way after challenge ends, but basically what I'm doing is for 7 days, I'm trying to just write for 60 to 90 minutes without self-censoring, without writing with a purpose, kind of. Because I think a lot of us are so used to like being like, oh, this is for a concert, or this is for this, or this is for this, and it needs to sound like this because this person's going to be there and they need to be able to hear it and be impressed and blah, 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 blah. I'm just trying to just get stuff out because I've been feeling pretty unproductive as of late. So that's the challenge, and the idea is that as I write them, I don't listen to them once the day ends, and then at the end of the 7th day, I'll go back and listen to all of them and just kind of reflect. And so I'm posting some of them on Instagram just because I feel compelled to share, but some of them I might not post if I don't think they're share-worthy, because that's not the point of what I'm doing. And the idea came from Ben Levin, who's a huge influence on me. He's a musician, guitarist, composer, and he has a songwriting course, and it's just one of the exercises that he recommends you try, and so I'm giving it a go. And so far, it's working well. The first 2 days were good. Today's wasn't that great, which is why I'm probably not going to post it. But that's not the point. It's not supposed to be good. It's just supposed to be something that comes out of me. That sounds wrong. Sounds like a very creative way to be creative. Okay, so last question. You wear pink shirts a lot. Why do you wear pink shirts all the time? And do you think it's related at all to your approach to art making? Might be the deepest question you've asked today. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's the hardest question you asked me. I don't know. I I like wearing them because I think it's kind of funny that I only ever wear one color shirt. Even if I'm the only one who finds the joke funny, I think it's funny. So I do it. If that's related to my music, well, then so be it. Great. Yeah, well, thanks for sitting down with me. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. If it's all the same to you, while you do the outro, I think I'm gonna log off just because I'm kind of getting tired of the whole editing two of us thing too. I want to see one. Yeah, I'll see you later. Well, that's the show, and actually that's the season. If you're still watching right now, probably means you've seen the other episodes as well, and so for that, I thank you. This series has been a lot of fun to make, and I'm really lucky that I get to be surrounded by such interesting people, and even luckier that they let me talk to them and I get to learn from them on so many different occasions. I don't know if the show will continue once I'm gone because I am graduating this month, a couple weeks actually. So it's kind of up to next year's Nevermind the Noise peeps if they want to continue this. So who knows, really. I guess before I say goodbye, I just want to say the world's kind of weird right now, and that's something we're all aware of. Especially to my fellow 2020 graduates, I feel like this was a time where a lot of us were going to transition into, real life stuff. It's a weird time to do that during a pandemic. So I guess I just genuinely hope that we all don't get lost. So we hold on to what we love, and then when this is over, we come into the world and we do what we're meant to do. I don't know if that's helpful or tone deaf, but it's something I'd want to hear, so I'm saying it. So, here's the normal ending, I guess. Nevermind the What is sponsored by Nevermind the Noise Composer Collective, which is a graduate student organization made up of concert music graduate composers at New York University. It's a mouthful every time I say it. If you want to stay up to date with what we have going on, our social medias will be somewhere here on the screen, as well as in the description. This is the last episode, so you actually won't see me next time. Bye. Great. I think that's it for Beanie Boy.